good evening on Instagram, and good evening on Facebook and on YouTube. So it's nice to be here tonight to be sharing with you on another episode of Inspiration to Achieve. So, do you find that you're living a life that is challenging? Do you feel that life is just a roller coaster of challenges at the moment? Or do you embrace challenges? So it is my duty today to talk about challenges. The topic that we have for today is called, Are you up with challenges or down because of challenges or with challenges? So that is the plan we have for today. So if you're joining me either on Facebook, on all my platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, and as well on Instagram, feel free to say hi. Feel free to make a comment. If you get to watch this later on, feel free to do hashtag replay and just communicate and connect with me. My name is Patience Ogunbono. I am a transformational coach and a business and corporate trainer, inspirational speaker, and DISC behavioral expert, as well as emotional intelligence expert. I'm a speaker and an author. And I help introverted female leaders, professionals, and entrepreneurs to thrive by making sure that they can create increased influence, impact, and income. So I'm also the founder of ATI Coaching, Consulting, and Training. And I am part of the John Maxwell team. I'm an executive director with the John Maxwell team. What is a challenge, really? And when you think about it, the climate that we're in at the moment, you could say is challenging. I'm just doing a quick check of my technology to make sure that everything works as it should, because I want you to be able to hear me clearly and see me clearly. Of course you can, so that's great. So what is a challenge? I like to start many of my sessions when I'm talking on my Inspiration to Achieve live sessions. I like to start by digging deep into the topic and kind of providing that insight or giving a definition that people can resonate with. So what is a challenge? A challenge can be defined as a demanding or stimulating situation, right? And a call to engage in a contest or a fight. So I guess if somebody, I challenge you to a bout, I challenge you to a fight. So that's something that we hear and it's very common. But again, it's demanding. I like the word demanding, but I also like the fact that you can talk about the fact that it's stimulating, which is interesting, isn't it? And I think that's what I want you to bear in mind as we talk about this topic of being challenge. The second thing about challenge is that it is designed to test your ability, right? Sometimes you don't know that hidden potential. As a transformational coach, we say you have to become the person that you were meant to become, right? So what challenges does is to test your ability. Challenges can test your ability to endure as well. It can test your, it can be interesting, it can be stimulating and thought-provoking and intriguing. So this year, to say the least, we've been through challenging times, yeah? But each person has handled it differently. And we might think that we all face the same challenge or we all handled it the same. The truth is some people have seen it as something that is bringing out the best in them. Some people have seen it as something that is bringing out the worst in them. And it is individual. And that is why it is important to talk about this topic, because as an individual, you want to be able to deal with what comes your way. You want to be able to handle it and you want to be able to address it, right? So I, for one, I love to embrace challenges. I wonder whether that makes me odd. But the truth is, I feel like life is a bowl of a mixture of good and bad. And the acceptance of that fact in life means that when things happen and they are not happening in accordance with what you want, it suddenly becomes what you call a challenge, right? And you have to then overcome. You have to see how you can walk through it to get to the other side. Many of us set out this year in the beginning to say, 2020 is my year of victory. I have a vision, 2020 vision, I have the capability to do this, do that. We set very big goals because it felt like it's a significant year, isn't it? The beginning of a new decade and all those things about newness. With newness also comes the need to set, your own stretch goals. At the same time, like in this October, we had a very unique day, which was the 10-10-2020. So there's a lot of uniqueness in this year, but we can focus on what doesn't work. There is a saying that says, these things are not sent to destroy us, but to try us. Of course, we know that people have lost their lives, excuse me, during this COVID-19 time. So saying that it's not set to destroy, to a certain extent, there is a half truth in it. But when you look at how you manage challenges, that's the mindset that you've got to have. You've got to have the mindset that whatever it is, your positivity will help you not to be destroyed, but to get to the other side and try you. Like I said, give you that demanding, make it demanding for you, but test your ability to endure, your ability to progress, and bring out maybe something that is hidden in you that you didn't know you had the capability to do. So I put out 3 elements that I want to talk about, and which is, should you prepare for challenges? So I'm sure based on what I have said so far, you might be able to guess what my answer is. But, let's start with this kind of insight. The fact is, everything in life requires you to pay a price. You have to pay a price. Anything worthwhile, as John Maxwell says, is uphill. So already climbing uphill is a challenge. But when you think about it, many things in life start with a challenge. For a baby to come out, to be born, you have to squeeze through, you have to struggle, you have to be pushed through. It's a challenge for both the mother and the baby that you want to come out on the other side successful. What about growing up and becoming an adult? One of my birthdays, I was given a card that said, growing old is not an option, but growing up is optional. So growing old, you have no control, but growing up is optional. You can choose not to grow up. And to be able to grow up, actually, you need to be able to then start facing challenges, to be able to start taking challenges head on. And what do I mean by that? So you find that when you have children, you're doing most things for them. You've got to start creating an environment for them where they are learning harder stuff, or they are taking charge or taking control of things. Why? Because it's through facing those challenges and overcoming them that they develop the ability to become adults and grow. So already life is built in with challenges. If you want to own your first home, if you want to buy your first car, let's even go to the point of saying, if you decide to get a job, you have to wake up early in the morning to go for that job, right? And for some people, your challenge can be so personal. It can be based on your personality. It can be based on your environment. It can be based on the people around you. So should you be prepared to face challenges? My answer, therefore, is yes. Why? Because like I said in the beginning, challenges give you that opportunity to grow. They help you to test your capability to do something that you've never done before. So as I go on, obviously, I will share what that means for many people, including myself. And I would also be sharing with you the fact that I am setting up on the 21st to 23rd an opportunity for you to come and test your ability, to come and understand the tools that you need to be able to challenge yourself, to develop your ideas into your dream business. In this climate, there's a lot of opportunities, and you have to be willing to see them. Like I said, I work with women, I work with introverted women who already, as if you are an introverted woman and you're watching this, you might be thinking, sometimes my life gets challenging. And I get it, because when I started off in life and didn't know I was introverted, there are situations where I felt misunderstood. There are situations where I felt like I didn't belong. I didn't want to necessarily change to belong. And it was through exploring the fact that I had to face the challenge of saying, okay, I don't want to change. When I found out I was introverted, I said, this is me. This is who I was made to be. I'm not looking to change, but I'm looking to become the person I want to become. And I'm still looking to take advantage of the things in life. So I have to learn to adopt. So the question is, should you prepare for challenges? Yes, the answer is you need to prepare for challenges. Why? Because challenges are also masked as opportunities. Like I said, challenges are also masked as opportunities for you to develop, for you to grow, for you to find something. And it's an invitation for you to take on a fight and a battle. And in this year, a lot of us have had to face going on a battle journey, fighting one battle or the other to be able to feel positive, to be able to feel that we're thriving. So for that reason, I think you should always prepare for challenges. If it's not COVID, it's going to be something else. And the ill-prepared person that is not prepared and has this idea that life is all rosy, when you have the idea that life is a mixture of good and bad, you are prepared to know that there will be down days. But they said if you fall in the day of adversity, your strength is too small. What does that mean? That means that you have to have built up strength so that on the day of adversity, you are able to stand, right? So how do you prepare for adversity? The saying goes that when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So one of the ways that you prepare for adversity or challenge is to actually create it. You create it yourself through goals, through stretch goals. So like I said in the beginning, when most of us enter 2020, we said the 2020 vision is a unique year. So obviously, with everything that you want to achieve, with everything that you want to go through, you find that you have to overcome one thing or the other to be able to do that, right? So even when you are setting goals, you set stretch goals. That means you've got to go on a journey to say, I have to discover my capability to achieve these goals. Then you hit a stumbling block, which is, okay, maybe I procrastinate a lot. So how am I going to get this goal achieved? That's the challenge that you have to overcome. You have to go on that journey to overcome the challenge. So how do you prepare for a challenge? Let's take, for example, even from a preparation point of view, it is inevitable. Some things are inevitable in life, but still, some people will definitely not prepare for it. Death is inevitable. Growing old is inevitable. What do you prepare for when it comes to death? You think about the fact that if life is short, then what you will be remembered for is what you've done, your legacy. You want to be taking advantage of opportunities, but obviously people just wake up and expect life to happen or make life. You either expect somebody who expects life to be happening to you, or you make sure that in preparation, you are allowing yourself to make life happen through you and be empowering yourself for that to happen. That is how you prepare for challenges. What about getting old? We all know that getting old means that at some point you cannot do the same work that you used to do. If you are employed, if you are in business, you are thinking of relaxing, handing over to somebody who can look after the business. So what do? You need to prepare for a time of retirement. It doesn't mean that, or a time of handover, or a business that will survive and be sustainable. But do you start that at a late stage? When you think about it, if you are going to build a building that is lasting and is sustainable, you don't start thinking about the sustainability at the roof. You think about its sustainability at the time of design. At the time of design. And you also make sure that the foundations that you create are saying that it's going to be sustainable. That is how you build something sustainable, not where you get to the roof. And obviously, the challenge of anything is the beginning of it. To even begin anything in life is a challenge in itself. So you have to recognize that, okay, when I'm doing this, it's either going to be easy or it's going to be hard. Yesterday, I watched a program called, Grand Designs. I don't know how many people watch that, but I really love that program, where people go on this dream journey of building their dream home and building it from scratch. They are doing it the way they want. And it's quite audacious, really. But most of the time, every one of them takes on a challenge. They take on a challenging plot, they take on something historical, and that is what makes the program interesting. So yesterday there was one that was being built and I watched it. And I was really impressed because the presenter said, I have never seen somebody set a goal to achieve something within a particular timeline on this program that has been able to achieve it at all. So obviously what happens? This couple said it's going to take us 9 months. And the challenge, every step of the way, because they were building on a hilltop, they had challenges. To get lorries to the site was a challenge. They had to deal with the weather. I even remember the one thing that really struck me was when it was snowing and they knew that a truck had to arrive and workers had to stop work. Do you know that they called the workers and said, we envisage that this snow is not going to last long, so come out to the site. And the workers were upset. But guess what? The sun came out that afternoon. If you had seen the way it was in the morning, you would have thought to yourself, why on earth is this crazy man asking people to come out? How much is he paying them to let them have injuries from snow and slippery? But by afternoon, the sun was gone. And guess what? Aside from maybe 2 weeks, which they pulled in, they completed this 5-bedroom, massive house within schedule, within the 9 months. Of course, it's an architect. So when you are planning for schedules, how do you prepare for it? How do you prepare for challenges? Is to know yourself and your capability, right? You've got to be willing to know who you are. And that's the thing. He knew I'm an architect. And again, his wife, although somebody who had trained in sales, was very good at being organized, being focused. They were very driven people and they played on their strengths together. And they decided to take some certain actions. That's when I say you prepare for the challenges. He abandoned his office, which was in town, and decided to set office closer home and work together with his wife to be able to bring this project within schedule. But there was also the battle of being on the hillside. There was a field next to it that looked like it had no potential. By the time the presenter of this program came back, this field had been turned into an oasis garden. What am I trying to say? They saw the challenge, they embraced it, and they took it on board. Many of us, the challenges we will always face, whether situations outside of us change or not, is the challenges in our personality that stop us from doing the things that we want to do. So for me, that's the way I see challenges, that I will be there next year, whatever happens. Yes, I'll be praying that the external things that happen, the things that the government say, stop me. But the government can decide to say I shouldn't do something and say, don't go out. But when I'm in here and I'm locked up, the question I need to be asking myself is, what do I need to be doing so that the goals that I have, it within my power, while I am waiting for things to change, what do I need to be doing? So what's my first experience of challenges, really? I remember I hear a lot about it, but I didn't think that you've got to initiate your own challenge. And that's what I want to say as well. How do you face challenges? Sometimes you initiate them. You initiate them as a way of getting rid of the barriers, getting rid of self-sabotage. It's a bit like those that go on a diet. You go on a diet, it's a challenge, but you do it because you want to arrive at the destination of weight loss or of healthy living. So I was saying to my husband this morning, I said, I don't weigh myself anymore. That is a goal I set for myself because I found myself that the scale creates anxiety for me. And the anxiety prevents me from actually making momentum and progress in the good habits that I need to create. Now, many people might not see it that way. I saw it that way. And I was surprised, actually, that through a conscious effort to not dwell on what the scale is saying, I have ignored it and it was always a temptation. Oh, let me check. I've just had a burger. Let me check what's happening. I didn't feel like I had the freedom to enjoy my life or I had the freedom to be eating what I wanted. So consciously and subconsciously, the decision was, I'm not going to be tied to a machine. to keep telling me. But there were other reasons why I need to lose weight or I need to work hard. And there were more important reasons why. For example, I am prone, my mom died of diabetes. There's a history of diabetes in the family. So for me, continuously, there is a challenge to stay away from sugary things, to stay away. So the personal challenges we face, it's not when I'm now ill that I would start creating a challenge, right? So basically, I've had to challenge myself as I get older to start watching what I eat. That for me is more important than the scale, because I've seen skinny people have diabetes because you can be skinny because of your metabolism, but you then load all the chocolates in the world. And if you are susceptible to a disease, then you get the disease. So it was more about a lifestyle change, about the things that I needed to go back to eating and the tweaks. The challenge here was not to go back to dieting because I've been on diets, but to live a lifestyle of eating right in a conscious way. And I remember many, many years ago, one of the tools that helped me was when a coach talked about you need to listen to when your brain is telling your stomach that it's full, right? Because we go past that feeling, we go past that voice to the danger zone where we overeat or we eat the things that are not working for us. Am I saying things are perfect? No. But how did I decided to challenge myself on it, but I added a different layer to it, another challenge. And that was, I put myself forward to walk 70 kilometers for my birthday to raise money for charity, which is Care International, that supports women in underprivileged areas to be empowered, to be able to create businesses and create sustenance for their own families. The theory being that if you help a woman to be empowered, her community is empowered, right? Thanks for joining me, Nia Ferris, on Instagram. So basically, I decided that rather than wait for my life to be challenging and be ill and on medication, I would find a challenge for myself. I'll create a challenge for myself, and that challenge is going to take all my bad habits and put it front, right, and center in my face. And I was going to have to do what you call sit on the naughty step and tell myself off and do the things I needed to do. So I did that challenge. But what was that challenge supposed to lead to? A change in habit and a change in behavior. Something that will help me to start forming a habit of walking as a way of life. Because I realized that if I can walk every morning, I get energized, I get refreshed. And it's the one thing that lockdown has not taken away from you, walking. It has given all throughout the lockdown from February till now, one thing that the Prime Minister and everybody else has not said is don't go out for 1 hour and take exercise. So within that parameters, you ask yourself, that is your controllable thing that you can use as a challenge. And so for me this year, the habit change is that I have walked most weeks every day for at least 4 days and done 5 kilometers every single time I did it, minimum. The days that I was very ill, 2 weeks ago, I did 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers. I wasn't held back, but I am changing. So the whole idea behind being challenging is changing yourself. What about the other challenge that I did, which really helped me? It was one I did with the John Maxwell coach, with one of my John Maxwell mentors, that relates to Think and Grow Rich. So that book is not to be read, it's to be studied because you want to use it as a behavioral change tool. And so I joined a 14-day challenge that said, when you start this, you are going to read the chapter on persistence every day for 14 days. If you miss a day, you are going to go back and start all over again and do 14 days from that day you missed. You're not going to carry on and just skip. Wow, that was really tough because the first time I did it, I was reading and I thought, I get bored easily just reading things like this. I really do. I don't enjoy overreading. And I didn't feel like that chapter on persistence had all the interesting stories that I wanted to read. But I did the first 3 days, it was fine. Then I missed the fourth day. I had to sit down and be integrous with myself and go, I am going to have to go. And it's not about telling anybody. I had to be honest. So I had to go back. But it was so painful to now go back and do another 3 days to add to it, that pain made me do my 14 days. And I finished it. That taught me a lot about myself. If I focus enough, I'll be able to achieve something. But what did it do by you were reading a chapter on persistence and you became persistent. But there were things there that I would have missed. And each time that insight came and provided some guide for me to be able to move forward. So I can see some people engaging, on Facebook. Thank you for engaging. Oh, let me put it off and the sound. So, yes. You create challenges for yourself to be able to grow. Then I want to tell you about the third one, which is join challenges that others have created as well, that you know and identify are in the zone that will get you off your procrastination, off your perfectionism, off the weaknesses. Most of the challenges we face are self-inflicted, like I said. So I'm doing a challenge on the 21st to 23rd, which is develop your idea into your dream business. You can look at the climate and say, oh, nobody does anything new. Whatever happens, whether this year stays the same or changes, you still have to have a goal that you're working towards. You still have to have the income goals that you have not yet achieved that you want to achieve. You still have the desire for the freedom. If it's not going to go away, then what are you going to do about it? So my challenge that I'm setting up, being that I know that I work with people who who can get overwhelmed easily. Women, you have a lot on your hand. I'm doing it for 3 days, but it's going to include having tools, workbooks that you would need to do to come back the next day. So it gives you that window of disciplining yourself to be able to achieve something and come out on the other side after 3 days with outcomes. That is how you have to look at it. So after those 14 days, my life changed, and I'm telling you, permanently, forever. I became somebody who was persistent, like a Rottweiler with a bone in many things that I do. It sustained me. I did that probably in 2018, and it sustained me through times of trying to build my business because I had just taken the leap and left my 9 to 5, and there was always this 1 foot fear looking behind you and thinking, what on earth have I done? I need to go back. But, that challenge helped me to persist. And I love challenges for that reason, because it gives you that opportunity to find within yourself something that will help you improve. So finally, I want to talk about how, for example, in this season, it created adversity for a lot of people. Let's not beat about the bush. People lost their jobs. People lost people and have to deal with the pain and have to go on without people. I understand those challenges. I've been through them. I understand and I can empathize. Doesn't mean I can put myself in anybody else's shoes, because it's where the shoe fits that it hurts. But it's still important to understand that whatever we face, our mindset is important. So sharing some stories on some of the success stories that I went searching for some success stories during this period, especially for companies and organizations. One of them, for example, is Kodak. Kodak is a good example of a company that when changes were happening. And that's exactly what I want to say, that the reason why you must create challenges for yourself and embrace challenges and work on yourself to grow is because life is always changing. And if you are not building capacity to change with the times, you're left behind. Kodak experienced that. It was adamant on staying as it was. And when technology changed for cameras and everybody now takes pictures on their phones, nobody wants cameras, nobody wants the camera reels or whatever, it had no choice than in 2012 to go bankrupt. But you hear stories of the opportunity that is seizing at this time, which is to create medication and medical supplies for the US, for people to be able to use. It's now done what we all know in our new vocabulary, which is pivot. It's now seized the opportunity, gotten a loan, and it's now actually thriving and surviving and rising from the ashes. People are rising from the ashes. Companies are rising from the ashes. Companies are changing their productivity to be able to maybe mass produce hand sanitizers, all sorts of things, and seeing the opportunity. But also, what about other companies? Lockdown is the time where you can sit down and have an excuse. You are not rushing anywhere to work because most companies were not open. There were periods of about 3 months. Most people were binging on Netflix. So Netflix became one of the places that unsuccessful. Another one is working from home. You have Zoom. And during the time that this lockdown happened, straight away, everybody was on Zoom. The challenge shifted from not having business to having too much business. And how do you maintain it? It exposed all sorts of their security issues that needed to be resolved. And then they put things in place. It also then created competitiveness from others who were now competing against them. So they now have to also up their game to be able to deliver. So what am I saying to you? Exactly what we define. It tests your ability and it tests your endurance. That's what challenges do. Yeah. Then my own John Maxwell team. We always have an annual event for our certification. And I go there, when I go there as one of the exec directors, I'm there to hug people, to support people through masterminds, through all sorts of things. That did not happen this year. But what happened was phenomenal because they adapted and they took their ethos and values and took it online. As an organization that is a leadership organization and is having the title of being world renowned and with a lot of awards that the leader, John Maxwell, has won, even the president or the CEO and everybody having that high level of excellence, they brought the A game to the online space. And they were like the event of 2020. I tell you, the event was phenomenal. The networking was great. New platforms were introduced. The opportunity was phenomenal. It was just phenomenal to see how the opportunity was embraced and membership grew from that as well. So I was able to learn a lot about that. For me, another big thing, what's come out on the other side for me for this period, how did I grow? How did I embrace adversity? I sat down and I thought, will there be an opportunity where I'll be shut down like this again? Let me take a look at my business. That was really challenging because what I had to do was to go back to square zero, square one, square zero, and say, let's map out this business. Let's trash everything from the beginning, what I've been doing, and let's make the changes that I need to make, create an aligned business and make it work for me. What is my goal for setting up this business when I did? It was all about creating freedom for myself. And I was asking myself, since 2018 that I gave up my work to be able to start it, to be able to go full time on this, have I created that freedom? So then what happens with this? I began to look at myself, look at my capabilities, look at the tools, and that opened up what are the gaps I needed to fill. So I've done, this year I completed the training on emotional intelligence because I saw it as it's not just about having an ideal client, it's about being the ideal coach that meets your clients at the point of need. And I know one of the challenges of an introverted woman is dealing with emotions because overthinking things, getting overwhelmed, or being moody, or being reserved, some of those things, and having that ability to manage emotions is key, right? Thanks for joining me, Grace. Nice. So I had to think about that and add that to my portfolio. I now thought about how do I go back into the corporate world and also help organizations to help employees to create who are different. That's where diversity, because I saw the way things were and I looked at my own journey in the corporate world and I thought I was different, but sometimes misunderstood. So how do I help people to understand people like me? How do I help employers to add value, to feel inclusive, to create that diversity? So I began to look at another side of my business. which can be consulting and training in the corporate world to help. So not just do I coach individuals, I can go into the corporate world, but I had to create capacity for the business for that. I had to look at my tech skills, and I had to start changing my messaging, my content, who I want to work with, who I attract. It was challenging, but I'm glad that I had the opportunity to create that challenge and to execute it for myself. So this brings me to say, are you going to join me? I'm somebody who loves challenges. I'm somebody who helps people, holds your hand, and helps you to go through challenges. So if this year has really been challenging for you, if it has really been something you've had to rise up and walk through, then this is an opportunity again for you to find a space to just stay in a 3-day situation where you are really focused on those issues that you need to unravel to be able to develop your idea into the dream business, the dream opportunity that you've always wanted to do, but never felt comfortable, never felt capable. You've allowed some things to hold you back, but you have this focused time. So I'm inviting you to join me. You might say, I'm not introverted, but this will work for me. Then I'm ready for you to come in. It's mainly for women, and it provides that opportunity for you to come in and work. You can be introverted, you can be an extrovert who's had challenges doing what you need to do. You can be ambivert. You are welcome to join this challenge because you will learn, you will gain a lot. And my goal when I work with people is, whether or not it's a free challenge like this one is, you are coming out on the other side, because I'm always about whatever I do, I have to give value. So I'll put the link after the Facebook Live for people to sign up for you to join. I want to encourage you like I do. Like I said, I'm a transformational coach. So the questions I have asked here is this: should you prepare for challenges? The answer is yes. How do you prepare for challenges? By actually creating your own challenges to understand your capability to be ready for tough times, or to be ready for when opportunity comes that you need to take advantage of it. So how do you turn adversity into advantage? By actually looking at the opportunity within that adversity that is not going to come around again when that adversity is over, and taking advantage of it. So inviting you to come along. You want to make up your mind to transform. Just like the caterpillar has to make up its mind to climb a tree and go and shed its cocoon to find the wings, you have to make up your mind that you're going to build your wings, that you're going to jump and you're going to build your wings, getting ready for the opportunity that you want to fly. Challenges in life are inevitable. And if you accept that, it makes life easier to live. It doesn't make it easy in the sense of you can just float through life, which you can, and avoid all the challenges in the world, but nevertheless, challenges still exist. I hope that this has made a difference. I hope that you've taken something out of it. When you watch the video, I will appreciate knowing what are the points that you have. What are your own challenges that you faced and overcome? Because life is about sharing and exchanging stories. So share your stories with me. Inspire other people that will come to watch the video when they see the comments they see. You can, on Facebook, you can always have hashtag replay, and let me know your comments, your insights. It would be great to have you. And for those who have joined me both on Instagram, on Facebook, and most likely on YouTube, I want to thank you for being part of tonight's episode of Inspiration to Achieve. My name is Patience Ogumbono. Take care and God bless.